everyone. It was fantastic, and then I moved down to Queenscliff when I was 15, but I'd started going to school in Manly at 14 at St Paul's there. But just spit it out. But and this is also for my children as well, just for them to understand, to hear who their father is, rather than just looking at an awkward picture that their mum may have kept, and that Standby movie sort of spoke to me, and I started conceptualizing sort of film and things like that, screenplays, and I think when you start writing or you start conceptualizing things, you're very immature in your writing. You're very self-centered. It's I forget what the word is. It's a bit of an ego trip for yourself, let's say that. And it wasn't until I started having problems sleeping, just an overactive mind, and to silence the monkeys, what I'd do is just take A4 textbook or A4 writing books and notebooks or whatever you call them, and just start penning out my thoughts. And eventually these started to flow, and I even developed this unique form of handwriting that just had a beauty to me, and it had a flow, and I could always get a grip on my mental state as to what my handwriting looked like. And for me, there was some particularly beautiful periods in my life where I thought, oh, that's nice writing. But yeah, so I've still got a lot of these books, all of them really. And as I matured, so did the writing I was doing, and it became less about me, and real stories started to develop. And yeah, it sort of went into science fiction and developed. And I'm not going to give you the content of what I do, because I still have I'm still have dreams of making films or doing screenplays, or but what I'm going to give you today. So that's the story. That's how I came to be involved with science fiction and writing. Then I got to a point where I thought, all right, I've got this. What I'm doing is original, and so I came up with science fiction, and I think I've explained it, whereby I flesh out the truth with fiction, but I make it relatable to and I make it 2016. I make it 2017. I don't make it in the year 3080. And the Earth's been blown up. But yeah, so I guess that's enough of that. What I want to share with you today is my concepts for virtual computing, and within my sort of writings, I think I've come up with a concept that can actually fill in a few gaps that I believe are missing in science fiction writing. And one of those gaps is how we find the next most powerful computers, how we actually give life to computers, to the point where they, people traditionally think that they compete against us, and I'll touch on that soon. But yeah, just to I also believe I've created another dimension. Okay, now there's some pretty bold claims, and I rate myself pretty highly. I'm of average intelligence, above average intelligence, but I think on my creative intelligence is next level. Now, let's just start with you might be thinking, what the fuck he's created another dimension. Where does this guy get off? Okay. Now, inspiration for this, I was doing some internet dating, and there's one girl, and we were getting on fine. She was an artist, and very talented. And like by the second phone call or something like that, she was calling me from a mental hospital, and that could very well be in the first one. But I've got children, right? I cannot, go. I can't do nuts again, and but I have respect for the broken mind, and just the way in which a broken mind can reflect light, is just a thing of beauty to me. And this was a very beautiful girl with a great mind, and I'm one of these people that respects insecurities in people. This bravado, this bullshit we see, in 2016, this culture, the way the youth carry on, it's just ignorance. Like, I just don't respect it. This aesthetic bullshit. I always would describe myself as, how did I describe myself? Wild in imagination, not appearance. And anyway, I just thought, well, look, I'm not going to drop the ball on this girl, and I just sort of spoke with her, and I just sort of, basically said, at some point you've got to, open the curtains and let the sun shine in. And I'd just finished, I'd come out of a relationship with a girl who was very, she loved sending those memes. So it was great. It's almost like you're looking for artwork, on the internet, telling a 1,000 words with a picture, a picture tells 1,000 words, so to speak. So I'd send her these memes and, try and lift her spirits, and I'd send her, pictures of hummingbirds. There's some hummingbirds with some iridescent colours. They're just amazing. And even just the lives of hummingbirds are amazing. And they just defy, physics. But she had drawn this, hummingbird, feeding on this flower for me. And it was like, what the fuck? So I continued on, talking to this girl, even though I couldn't see a relationship with her. And I actually just spoke to her recently. But she told me, and look, it could be another girl. I've dated a bit since, or not. Let's not beat around the bush. I've had 3 girlfriends, and I've dated quite a bit since my marriage, and in the last 2.5 years, and probably for the last 3 months, since I stopped seeing the last girl I was with. I just sort of slipped into a bit of depression slump. So, and I think I was, needy in the sense that, I wasn't happy with my own company. I was just having to be around women all the time, and I think this is great what has happened to me, because now I'm comfortable with my own company again. So it was either her or someone else had told me a story where they'd lost all their money. She'd been in a relationship before, they had a child, and her partner she'd lost him to the internet. And I'm like, what are you talking about? And he was actually in these, virtual realities, and he had brought an island or a nightclub or something for like 20 or 30 grand. And, and I just was thinking, fucking hell. But I was really interested in just, thinking and, visualising this virtual nightclub and island. And, who's seen Avatar, and, that hasn't had an impact on them. So I mixed between those, and, that was a source of inspiration. And even just recently, a comment, my cousin made to me about, we were talking, we have long conversations, and it was something along the lines of, you know, computers aren't foreign, you know, to humans. I can't remember what it was, but anyway, the way in which I sort of, put all the pieces together, I can't even remember where I was anymore, but so I do thank you for sticking around. But so we had the virtual. Okay, so yeah, that's right. I was making bold claims that have come up with a new dimension. What? And I've created that avatar world within that, and how that came to be is with those two concepts: the virtual reality nightclub, avatar, and computers are of the human. We created we created computers. It's a human concept, it's transformative content, so to speak, one of the buzzwords of 2016 in veganism. But as it's of the human, it will ultimately come back to the human. So, it's all too often you watch Star Trek and you're looking at, these cyborgs and, and that's happening to you as we speak. With your phone addiction, your computer addiction, whatever it is, your neural pathways are changing and they're adapting to your phone and computer use. Okay? We are becoming the machine and the machine is becoming us. It's a symbiotic relationship, and that's just further proof that because we created it, it's coming back to us. We're inseparable. We're one of the same. And it's pretty much true of anything that happens on the earth. Okay? Now, if the computers are of the human, much in the same way they can replicate how we run, walk, talk, swim, whatever in the future, the human dreams and can go to another world. So therefore can the computer, or the computer can facilitate that dream. Okay. Now, this is a movie in itself, right? But what I've got is next level in this shit. So this is a concept. So I'm happy to put it out there. And any weasel that copies it, like how would you live with yourself? But there's low lifes everywhere. But anyway, with quantum computing, and if we just describe that very quickly and very simplistically, basically an abacus is a computer. It's just a method for calculating variables. So if we looked at, 4 fingers held up in front of your face, you put 2 down, you put 3 down, you put 1 up, you put 2 half up, whatever the case may be, let's say there's 16 variations there. Now, with quantum computing, each bit can go through and it can change. I think it changes between, 4 states. But instead of having 4 fingers in front of you, you've basically got 4 to the power of 4 and, times all those, by 4 again. So there's infinite, possibilities almost. But there's still limitations on quantum computing. Now, if we think about a virtual reality in, time, space, depth, there has to be a point of reference if you're creating a virtual reality that one is to exist in. And if we took a cube, there'd have to be a diagonal point of reference, or even an X of reference. So, one could get a grasp on as to where you are. And these can be infinitely large, because to measure the distance from the Earth to the star, we use a known measurement, say from the Earth to the Moon, and then we measure the angle between the star, the Earth, and the Moon, and then we can, identify what the distance is to that star. So basically, once you've got points of reference within this virtual reality, it can be pretty much infinite, okay? And we've created another universe. We've created another dimension, the fourth dimension. Or is it the third dimension? Who knows what bloody dimension. But anyway, so that's how I've created and this shit doesn't have to work. This is science fiction. This is bro science 101. This is my realm, no education required, limited by imagination. That's me. Now, what I thought of coming up with this cube, it would have to be a computer that went onto the 6 sides, or it doesn't have to physically be, a cube that exists, but what I want to do is provide points of reference, so you'd get 6 quantum computers to make up the 6 faces of a cube, and then you'd have a 7th computer, to provide a point of reference, and that would be, the ring that binds them, so to speak. Okay, so basically it's all one computer. It's just, powered by many. So this is where I get into virtual computing. We have a limitation on computers are developing at, or have developed at an amazing rate. Okay, what every 2 years they double in performance, or every 3 years they double in performance. Can't remember what the statistic is, but anyway, it's something. But what we're reaching now, is it called critical mass? I forget what it is, but we're limited by the physical world. Things can only get so small. So the performance and the advancement is starting to slow down, and at some point, it's going to stop. Okay, and humble old blue Wren here, and much in the same way, if I've had the idea, so have 1,000 others. It's just whoever executes first. Well, I'm striking a blow on this medium and this platform, but how I tie it in with the film is you can have some great concepts, but the film's still a flop. We've all seen them. And oh, sorry, I got lost again. Fuck. Okay, well, anyway, I think okay, so we're looking at the limitations of, computing are limited by the physical world. And that's why my inspiration, when I heard about this virtual nightclub, I'm thinking, the first thing I thought about when I went into the nightclub is like, when you get in there in this virtual reality, do you have to pay someone, at the front desk? Is there someone waiting there, and has she got a cash register? Like, do things operate within this, virtual reality? And I thought about computer games, like, when you're in these virtual worlds and you go over one thing and that means something and, triggers this and triggers that. So there almost is something, there almost is that dimension, but the problem with video games, they're, one-dimensional. And and this is where I've solved the problem of, the advancement of computers, is that what I've built is a virtual computer. So within this world, this computer can have, it operates at the speed of light. It has infinite memory, infinite amount of processors. It's just, it can go on exponentially, okay? And it'll reach a point where it actually will take over the World Wide Web. It'll, hook into every power source. It'll have, be able to operate its own solar farms. These are all concepts we've seen before, but this truly has life, but it becomes infinitely. We've basically created God with this computer. Wouldn't that be amazing if, like this bullshit concept we had of God, like, someone watching over you, blah, blah, blah. But then, and I've always, for someone to bring this pathetic example of what God is, you only need to go to a church, right? Everyone sitting on that bloody church aisle, or whatever they call them, has a different concept of what God is, right? It's pathetic, like, in everyone's mind, they're all a separate religion. So I've always found that, the world is so beautiful, and I like that expression, life. Living is for everything. Living is for everyone. Life is there to be lived. It's not there to be understood. Just appreciate the beauty and that you're part of it. And that's if you want to find God, that's it. You're in it, But wouldn't it be amazing if we actually, in this, created God in this science fiction film? Something that became infinitely large, and then the power of that. Like, look at what we can achieve with 6 quantum computers and a point of reference with a 7th. Imagine what this infinite computer, this virtual computer, could do. The mind boggles. But have I, illusions of grandeur are right here. Eyes on the Zard's got nothing on me. I've just created a God. Is that enough? Probably. But anyway, there you have it. Science fiction and virtual computing. Next level with the blue Wren. Hello, Hollywood. But the film that I've got that may never see the light of day, but I can remember, I don't know who it was, maybe Hugh Jackman or something like that. They were talking about a topic, and may have even been my favourite comedian, Bill Burr, and he was saying, like, okay, well, we've got the New World Order, they want us all dead. They'll go live in their underground network of bunkers, and just research that on YouTube, and they'll be sort of selecting people. Why should you live? The film that I have is why I should live. That's just one concept that I'm happy to give away, because it's for the betterment of computer science, and it's science fiction. It's, I think those creations, they're not inventions until those that are smarter than me apply their science to it. But those creations are for humanity. It's there to be shared. Not, well, it's like, but don't I have a different view to YouTube? All these fucks out there, they just want to monetize everything, and therefore the fucking whole thing's corrupted. Please leave some comments in relation to what are some great channels that you have to watch that aren't vegan related. Like, who have you subscribed to that it's just, drop everything, I'm watching it? Because I'm getting a bit bored of the old YouTube vegan scene. The VYC, I love it, and I'm always, hopefully going to be part of it. Never say always, never say never. But, it's just a bit boring at the moment, and it's the law of the lowest common denominator, and it's just too many kids, too ignorant, I'm over it. But anyway, let me know if there's any other things to watch, and yeah, thanks for your patience and your time. Hopefully you've well, who cares.